Welcome to a training video of the Barbados PAYE upload screen in PayPak Professional 4.0. This screen is used to prepare and submit income tax returns to the Barbados Revenue Authority TAMIS website. So let's log in and show you how it works. The Barbados PAYE upload is found under the Reports section of the menu inside Standard Reports. I can just click on the B here. Here it is on the menu, Barbados PAYE upload. Double click, and this is the Barbados PAYE upload screen. I have now greeted with a prompt which says 4 unassigned pay rates have been detected. Check that each of these pay rates is assigned to the correct section, then click on the section screen. We'll get back to that in a moment, so I'll just say OK. There's another prompt, 3 unassigned taxes or authorities have been detected. Check that each of these taxes or authorities is assigned to the correct section, then click on the settings button. You also click OK to that one. Now, let's start with a look at the layout of the screen. Then I'll show you how it works. Top left, you have the period, and that can be monthly, month for monthly, and year for yearly. You have options for the year and month that you're reporting for. The company's TIN number. At the top right, you have some totals. Under them, you have template options. There's a monthly template and a yearly template. And there are date and time labels which show the dates and times of your templates. Under that, there's an upload folder. Under that, an option to print on a dot matrix printer for if you're printing the report. Then we have the main section of the screen, 3 tabs. One for gross pay, which displays a list of pay rates. One for deductions, which displays a list of taxes and deductions. And one for details, which will display the employees for whom tax returns will be submitted, prepared and submitted. Under the tab section, there is a progress bar. And under the progress bar, there are a variety of buttons which control the functions of this screen. So let's get started. There was a prompt which came up when we loaded the screen, so I'm going to exit so you can see that again. Good. So if you see this message when you start the software, what that means is there have been new pay rates added or detected which have not been assigned to a section in the gross pay, which is this area here. The reason you would see this is because by default new pay rates are assigned to the standard pay section, but you need to confirm that that is the correct section for them, because there are a number of sections for gross pay reporting, and indeed there's also an option to exclude some types of pay rates which may not be gross pay, which should not be reported as income. So we'll show you how to do that. Click OK. There's a similar prompt for unassigned taxes or authorities, and those similar to the gross pay would be new taxes or new authorities which need to be assigned to the correct section under the deductions tab. So we're going to deal with the new stuff first. Those two issues, the unassigned pay rates and the unassigned taxes or authorities. So for the unassigned pay rates, you come to the gross pay tab. The pay rates are listed here. You have the ID, the description, the section which they belong to, and each item belongs to a section. If you click here where bonuses, these are the sections which are reported on the tax return. So each type of pay that you have will belong to one of these sections. It goes under one of these sections. There's also an exclude option at the bottom. And what's that for? There are some types of pay or some payments which you may make which may not be gross pay, or to which income tax does not apply. For example, there are some customers who will pay loans to the employees through the payroll because it's convenient for them to do so. The money goes to the person's bank account. If they're paying through the bank, that's where the funds go. But that loan which you give the employee is not income. It's a loan, they have to repay it. It's not to be reported on the tax return. So in cases such as that, you would select exclude and assign it to the exclude section. In this case here we have discretionary pay being excluded. Let's put bonus back to where that was. I think that should go under bonus here. So by default, most items will fall under standard pay. There are some others in the list, and we'll just look through them again in a moment. It's your responsibility, if you are submitting the tax returns, to make sure that every item in here falls under the correct section. Otherwise, when it's time for your employees to file for their taxes, you may find that they're being asked to pay more tax than they should because something that was supposed to be excluded was reported as being taxable or fall into a taxable section, and no PAYE was deducted from it when it was actually being paid, such as the loans, for example. So let's have a look at them. The list. You have standard pay, then you have traveling, entertainment, housing, vehicle, utilities, miscellaneous, bonus, bonus shares, tax paid on salary, tax paid on housing, contract gratuity, and exclude. So you need to make sure that your various pay rates are assigned to the correct section. This would also be a good time to point out that you need to have separate pay rates for separate types of pay which fall under different sections. For example, if you have a person to whom you are paying a travel allowance, you can't assign that, and they get a salary and a travel allowance, but you only have the salary pay rate. If you don't have a specific travel allowance pay rate, but in their gross pay you have a second line for the travel allowance, but you're using the salary pay rate again, then when it comes time to submit your tax return, you can't separate the two of them because each pay rate can only fall under one category, one section. So you have to create a new pay rate for travel allowance and assign that to their line for the travel allowance. Or if you have their salary maybe as one line, you have a person getting $4,000 a month, you're giving them a travel allowance of maybe $500, let's say, for example. So they're getting $4,500 in total. It would be wrong to create one line in their gross pay for $4,500, because then you can't separate it here when you're coming to prepare the taxes. You have to create two separate lines, one line with the pay rate salary and a second line with the pay rate travel allowance. That's very important that you do that so that you don't run into problems when it comes time to submit your taxes. So those are the categories, and as I said before, the exclude one is there to exclude items which are not income. For example, the NS refunds, they're not income. Well, technically, well, they're subtracted from the pay for the period, so they're supposed to be deducted from the standard pay if you have NS refunds, because they're usually negative amounts. And the inland revenue does require, the BRA does require for those NS refunds to be subtracted from the standard pay. Now, getting back to the prompt which we saw when we came in. Normally what you would do is assign these pay rates to the relevant section, and then you click on the settings button here. If new pay rates have been added and you've not assigned them yet, that's the cause for the prompt which you saw. So that is just basically telling you that these four, 1, hazard pay, 2, other, 3, travel allowance, and 4, triple time, these are new pay rates which were set up since this settings button was last clicked on. I'm going to do that in a moment, but before I do that, let's move to the deductions because they all get saved together. The deductions are similar to the pay rates list, but these appear on other sections of the tax return, and they're for taxes and deductions. The sections here is a small number of sections. You have income tax, national insurance, provident fund, and exclude. Automatically, the PAYE falls under income tax. The NIS is assigned to national insurance once you are using the defined country tax codes which are set up in the tax assistant in PayPak Professional. There's a third tax here called Fortress Pension in this particular database, and that is excluded. That's not really a tax as such. This is a case where this is a pension deduction. It's set up under taxes so that the employee portion and the employer portion can be easily calculated. So for some deductions, customers will do this. Set up a pension, for example, under the taxes section of the software, where it deducts an employee portion and an employer portion, which can be based on the gross pay amount that the person works for. It's often easier than setting it up under the deductions. So we have the taxes, we have some deductions. Now sometimes, on the odd occasion, a customer may create a deduction for maybe year-to-date taxes or tax adjustment or something, maybe for either income tax or national insurance, and this is for those cases here. Mostly, however, it's for the third option, the provident fund. So if you have deductions which go to a provident fund, that's the most widely used purpose for this section. That's why the deductions are listed here, because they don't come out as taxes. They would not come out as taxes. They will come out as deductions. Okay, and most other things, most other authorities in this list would be excluded. Again, there were 3: Golden Kings Realty, Guardian Pension, and RBC Royal Bank, which were added since this settings button was last clicked to update. And to fix that prompt, all you need to do is click on the settings button, which I'll do now. And it says program settings updated, and you'll notice that the not assigned checkboxes are gone from the gross pay, and they're gone from, well, they're still there for the deductions, but they would be assigned. Still, we have to fix that. That's a little glitch, which we will fix so that it's clear. Now let's exit, enter again, and like I said, they're gone. You don't get the prompts anymore because you have updated your gross pay tab to assign, to make sure everything is assigned to the correct section, and your deductions as well, to verify that they are assigned to the correct sections. Let's say that Golden Kings Realty was a payment for a Provident Fund. Then I click on settings, and that's now updated. There would not be any deductions for this in this particular case though, because this is a new one and no payrolls have been done yet which take out deductions for the Golden Kings Realty. I know that there are some for Big Deets Pizza, so let's just put that there to Provident Fund, so that you'll see when we prepare the tax return, we should see something going to that Provident Fund column on the tax return. So I'll save the settings for that one as well, and probably set them back when I'm finished. Okay, so that takes care of the prompt. Let's go back and start at the top. We'll just exit out one more time, come back in, and we're at the beginning. The first thing you need to select is the period. Month or year. The month is for the monthly tax returns to TAMIS, and the year is for what? The yearly return, which was called the PAYE reconciliation upload, which has been discontinued for the time being, but we've left it on the screen so that if it does return, you have the option still. So for the most part, you will be submitting a monthly return. The year, we choose the year, let's go with 2020, and the month, I'm going to choose December of 2020. Then you have your TIN number. This number appears automatically, and that is set in the taxes section of the software. If I resize here a bit, minimize this, go to the menu, under records and taxes, is my income tax, BBPAYE, and that is the registration number which should be entered here. So if you don't see it on your screen when you come to do the tax returns, let's get back to it. If you don't see your TIN number, the company's TIN number here, and you have to key it in, go to the taxes screen, update it there, and it will come up here automatically. Okay, now we have the templates. As we said before, the yearly one is no longer used at present, temporarily disconnected, discontinued I should say. So the two templates, there's a monthly one and a yearly one. These files are Excel spreadsheets which come from the BRA website, and what you would do with them is you save them to your folder. How do you get them? You can log on to the BRA website and get them. Sometimes some customers will get them from us. They ask for them. Some people will go to the BRA website and get them. Some customers get them from their accountants or whoever handles the taxes for them. But now you can come here to the templates button here, and if you click there, it says, would you like to get the latest templates from the Barbados Revenue Authority website? So within our software, you can download, you can link. Let's just click here to say, and it's open in my browser. I'll just bring it over here. It's open in my browser. It's going to the web page. There you go. And it says third-party filing templates available. And if you scroll down, you'll see the latest templates here, because from time to time the templates do change. So this is the monthly upload template for the period 2018 to 2020, and this is the monthly upload template for the period 2019 to 2021. This is the old yearly one, the reconciliation 2018 upload template, which, as I said, is the one that's temporarily not being used. Now, if I go back to my screen, you'll notice that for my templates, these are the names of them, and this is the date and times. These templates were downloaded on the 19th of May 2019, which is over 2 years ago. These are probably outdated, so I need to update them, and that's what that button there would do. Let's just close my browser and click and show you again. So what you should often do, check here to make sure that you have up-to-date templates. The templates, I'm saving them in this folder, C, Customer Files, TAMIS, Templates. Okay, that's where I will save my templates. So I'm going to go and download the latest templates. I'm going to download the two monthly formats for the different years, because it's 2018 to 2020 and there's 2020 to 2021. So let's click on templates again. I say yes. Browser opens, goes to the website, scroll down, and I want this one and this one and this one. So let's start with the 2018 to 2020, because the 2018 to 2020, remember, I'm now filing for December of 2020, so I need this particular one. When I file for 2021, well, this is 2019 to 2021, but let's download here, and it says save the file, and I'm going to save it to C, Customer Files, TAMIS, Templates. Okay, so I save that there. And the other one, download, tell it OK, and we save it to that same folder as well. And then I want the annual one, the yearly one, and we save that as well. So I have downloaded the files. I can close the browser here, and if I look in that folder, if I click here, I can now choose the ones that I want. Let's go with the, well, it does say 2019 to 2021, so let's go with this one. And you can see the date there now says 30th of May 2021 at 7:20 a.m. And for the yearly one, let's go with, that's it right here, and we save that. So my templates have now been updated. They don't change very often, but if they do, that's how you do it. And then the next thing you would do is click the settings button, so that these folders, the location for the templates, the file that you're using is saved, and it will use these going forward. I'm not changing my upload folder. That stays the same. I have a folder called tax returns. And I recommend that you keep the templates in a separate folder from the actual returns. We've had some customers who saved the templates and the returns in the same folder, and as a result they overwrote the templates with real information, and when they went to prepare the next month's returns, the information for the new month was added to the one for the previous month, and of course the figures were incorrect. So make sure that these templates kept in a separate folder. Always make a little peep here to make sure that there are the dates they're supposed to be, that they were not inadvertently updated, and we're ready to move on. The option here is to print on a dot matrix printer. That's when you're printing the report. If you have a dot matrix printer, we have one customer who prints out the report and they have a dot matrix printer, so that's for them. We have our gross pay options here. Normally you would not have to change any of these once these are assigned to the correct sections, as we did when we came in, when we started the demo. You're good. You should not likewise you should not normally have to change anything here. Those are also set by the prompts. If anything new happens either in the gross pay in terms of new pay rates, or in the deductions in terms of new taxes or new deductions, that's what those two prompts are there for, to alert you that there have been changes. So once we have everything selected, it's time to just display the information by clicking on the display button, and the software goes through and it calculates the figures for you. We have 40 employees selected, and this is the PAYE amount that's being calculated. So let's look at the columns and see what we've got here. The ID, the TIN number, name of the employee. There's an option to select, because if for some reason you have someone in here who was not to be included on this return for whatever reason on this spreadsheet, you could uncheck them like that and they would be excluded. The date started, there's a requirement now that the date started is supposed to say not the date the person actually started, but the first day of the year, 1st of January of the current year, if the person had already started working before that date, or if they started in January. Suppose this is someone who started work on and this is the month in which we're talking about the month of December. We're filing for December 2020. So any employees who started in the month of December, say this person here started on the 4th of December. This date here would say the 4th of December 2020. Anything else would say the 1st of January 2020. And as I understand it, that is even if the person started, say, in August of 2020. So that's as far as I understand it, as far as I am aware. Reading the rules, I don't know if they've modified that or changed it since then. There's a date finish if the employee finished working in that period. There's a tax code. 250W would represent an allowance of $25,000 weekly, and 250M would represent an allowance of $25,000 monthly. 400M would represent someone who is getting maybe pension allowance. And then you have the total remuneration in this column. You've got the amount of PAYE, which was deducted from the person's pay, the amount of NIS, which was deducted in here. Then there's the Provident Fund. As I told you, we would select the deduction as Provident Fund to show you how that would appear in here. We've got a total allowances in this column here: traveling, entertainment, housing, vehicle, utilities, miscellaneous, total bonus, and bonus, and then bonus shares. Going across, we have some other columns: tax paid on salary, tax paid on housing, gratuity contract, and basic salary. Now, once this information is displayed, you would then click the Export button to prepare the tax return. Now, basically what happens is we're doing a monthly period. We've selected month for the period. So it will take the monthly template and it will fill in that monthly template with this information and save it as a new spreadsheet for the selected period of December 2020 and save it in this folder here. Now I have the templates folder open here, and we're going to look at the 2019 to 2021 template. Just open that up. This is open in LibreOffice. It's an Excel spreadsheet. You can open it in Excel too. Now, if you do not have PayPak, users who do not have PayPak would take this spreadsheet and fill it out with the information. These are the same columns that you would have seen in the Barbados PAYE upload screen. I'm going to close this because I need to have it close during the process. I don't want to have it open while the tax return is being prepared because it needs to open that file. So let's click on Export. There's also a print button, and if you wish you can print and preview. Some customers like to print it out. Some customers will print it before they export it to look through it, to review it. So if you wish to do that, you can do so, and it prints two sections because not everything, it's a very wide, there's a very large number of columns going across this sheet. They can't all fit on a legal size sheet that you can read comfortably. So we put some of the columns on the first section, section 1, which goes up to the basic salary. And this is 2 pages for that in this case. And then we put the remaining columns on section 2. So you can see everything there. So if you are printing this report for the purpose of, you need to align this little fella here. If you're printing this report for the purpose of previewing it before you prepare the Excel spreadsheet, this is what you would do at this point in time. Other customers print it after they've exported it. It really doesn't make a difference if you're not making changes because it will print whatever is in here. So I'm going to export it. I click on Export. It points to the folder where the tax returns are, the tax returns, and it gives it a name, PAYE monthly upload underscore, and it has 2020-12, and that represents the year 2020 and the month December. You should not change that name. And we click on Save. It's processing. And we will soon get a prompt. Right. File has been successfully exported, and this is the folder it's been exported to. So let's have a look at it. Remember, we had the template. This was the template, the empty spreadsheet. And let's go to the return. This is it here. Open that. And there you can see the information filled out. Let's just see if we can get them side by side view of the two of them. Okay, so the template, the return. is filled in the submitter's TIN, is filled in the submitter's name, it's submitted the address, it's submitted the year and the month. And we have in here the columns with the names and so on and so forth. So all the information is there. And it has the total at the top. Let's go to that Provident Fund. Where is it? Here it is. There's the Provident Superannuation Fund deductions. That's shown there. You've got your NS deductions here and the income tax. There, that's the amount that you would pay on submission. Okay, so that spreadsheet would now be uploaded to the TAMIS website, and that completes the process. Let's have a look at some of the other options here before we conclude. There's the print button, which I showed you. If you have a dot matrix printer, you can tick this and it will print it for a dot matrix printer. It'll be rendered for dot matrix. There's a new button to clear the screen. All and none is to select the particular employees we wish to report on. There's an invert button. Sometimes a company may have maybe divisions or something of that sort. Everyone may be in the payroll together. So if these 5 people, these 5 employees had to be filed on a separate return, you could fill out one for them and then you can click invert here and it would toggle everything around, and then you could prepare one for these other folks. Okay, we saw the templates button, which opened the templates page on the BRA website. There's a settings button, which we went through several times that saves the option up here, whether it's the month, the period, it saves the templates, where the templates are located, where your upload folder is located, and very importantly, the sections to which the pay rates are assigned and the sections to which the deductions and taxes are assigned. Reset will clear your settings. So you want to be very careful about that. If you click the reset button, it clears the settings and everything will go back to standard pay. And you may have to try to remember where everything was set to before or just set them back. So that brings this demo to a close. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today, and we look forward to the next video on the PayPak Professional 4.0. Thank you and goodbye.